Hello. So today we are going to look into another program, that is the seventh program we are going to discuss. Now what does this program says? You are going to develop a dynamic progress bar. So there are two parts of this. So one is you are going to develop a dynamic progress bar. The second part is we have to just write an HTML file wherein which we are going to use the display command, that is the video, right? So we want to insert a video and try to see that how to run a particular video inside our HTML. So these are the two things which we are going to do in this particular program. So first let us look into the progress bar, how we are going to exactly write or design a dynamic progress process. So it is a very simple program, but simultaneously it's very tricky program also. So let us start working on our dynamic progress bar. So let us try to get the skeleton of our this thing. So progress bar is the program. Let us give the title for this particular program. Now we'll come to the body part, right? So we know that when we are working on a progress bar, so you have seen so many applications or so many examples wherein which the progress bar keeps on going from, like say 0, 1, 2, 3 or 10, 20, 30 till 100, and it stops after installation, like various applications you are seeing. So now let us try to implement this. Let us put a heading. So we are going to implement progress bar, that is our program number 7A, right? Some heading we are trying to put. So now we will use a div tag, right? So now we will give the ID for this div. ID we are going to give for this div as my progress. So let us give an ID for this div. Now inside this we will make another div tag we are going to implement. Now let us give ID for this div as progress. Already we have taken my progress, we will give for this my bar. Now initially let us say that 10%, right? So we are going to start this progress bar with the 10%. Now let us save this and see what actually we are going to get when we execute this program. So we will save this. So open it with the live server. Let us see what we are going to get, right? So now you can see here, so we got the title and a div, right? So there is a div, two divs we have defined. Carefully you observe here. The first div, just we have given the ID, nothing we have given. In the second div we have given 10%. So now this 10% you are able to see here, right? Now we want to see that, so this 10 we are going to initially start with the 10, then we keep on incrementing this 10 until it reaches 100. That is our thing. So that is where we are going to simulate it as a progress bar. So these are the things. Now when you click on the progress, now let us insert one button, right? So inside this is the two divs is completed. Now we will insert a button tag and let us say on click. So we will give an event, we will write a function on click. So we are going to move, we will write a function called as a move. Let us say title for this button, we will say click. So now let us see what we have got. Now we got a button here. So now what we want to design is, when I click on this button, so this has to increase. So just like giving a impression that this is a progress bar. So now two things are there here, two div, one is ID is my progress and the other one ID is my bar, right? So now let us try to build some style for this. So because we want some progress bar and how it is going to move, some coloring and all, we will try to give it. So either you can write it as a separate CSS external file, or we can write here itself. So now we will use this style here. So my progress. So for this my progress, that is for our ID. So we are going to write, so check this spelling, progress. So now let us say we'll put some width for this. So let us say width 100% and background color, let us give some background color for this. Okay, right. So now let's check what you are going to get. Now we got one background color. So now this is our progress bar. Now on the top of this, so this is our div, right? This is the first div. You observe here, this is the my progress ID we are given here. In the next div we have written this 10%, right? That also has to be incremented. Now we will give some styling for my bar also. Now what we will change, it's we'll put the width also for this. So we'll say we'll give for this just 10% and we'll set some height also, let us say 30 pixel. Background color, so let us make the background color as green, and text align, we'll make it as center, because the 10%, 20%, whatever increment we are going to do, we'll make it inside it comes in the center. Now the font color, let us make it as some color will give blue. We'll check how it comes. Okay, so now let us save this. Now you can see here, now this is what we have obtained, right? So now this is the my bar div and the background is the my progress bar. Now when I click on this button, so now this has to increment, that is 10 whatever we have given here, it should keep on incrementing along with this number. So this green color, this also keeps on, it has to go till 100%. Once it reaches 100%, the progress bar is completed, the program has to stop. So that is how. So now all those things will work when we click on this particular click button. So we have built a function, right? So now we will go to our script and we will write a function, right? So what is the name of the function we have taken? Move. We are going to build this function. So now let us take one variable, say element, and we'll use document dot get element by ID. So now my bar. So now we have used a ID called as my bar, on which you are having that 10% we have displayed initially by default, right? So we will take another variable width and we'll assign this to 10. So another variable will define ID. Now ID equal to, now we are going to use one particular function which is called a set interval. Now this set interval function, it takes an handler, that is it takes another function which executes that particular function for certain period of time. So we'll use this set interval, right? Inside we are going to write a, let us write an one function called as frame. We will execute this frame for 100 milliseconds. That means every 100 milliseconds now this frame is been repeated. So now this set interval, it repeats a given function at every given time interval. Now it repeats this and it returns the interval ID. So it is going to return an interval ID which is a unique identifier which identifies the interval. So we store that in a variable called as ID. So now we will write another function, this frame which we have defined inside the set interval. Now what we try to do is, first we will put an if condition, we will check what is the width. If width becomes greater than or equal to 100, that means that 10% what we have checked. Now if it is greater than or equal to, once the width becomes greater than or it becomes equal to 100, that means the width what we have taken here, once it reaches this 100 particular, once that width becomes 100. So now we will clear the interval. So we will just clear the interval, and what is the where we are storing this ID which has been obtained by set interval. So we will use that. So clear interval ID, right? Now else if it is not 100, so now what we do, we will increment this width. We will make width plus plus, right? Now 10%, first it is 10, it is less than 100, so it comes to else part here, and 10 becomes 11. So like this it keeps on incrementing. So now we will use this element, right, dot style, right, dot width. Now we have to increase this particular width. So we will say width is equal to width plus percentage. So we want to display that. Now let us just save this program. Right now we will see what we have till now done here. Now you can see here, when we click on this function, click, now what is happening? So the width is increasing. So width keeps on increasing because we have written a function. It reaches till 100. Once it reaches 100, it stops, right? So once it reaches, so once width is equal to 100, we are using clear interval. Otherwise what happens, width keeps on increasing. So width plus plus, it keeps on going, and we are just displaying the width plus 10, right? So we are just displaying that width plus 10. But now if you see here, we are saying width plus 10, but on the top the 10 is not incremented. It is still 10% only. It is still 10% only. So why? Because that 10 is displayed here. So that means if you want to make changes on that, so what we have to do, so we have to do element dot inner HTML. So inner dot HTML is equal to, so you will say width, now you display, so plus percentage. Now what happens, the width what you are incrementing, you are putting that in your inner dot HTML so that it keeps on incrementing. So let us save this. Now when you click on this, you can see now it is incrementing. So now actually that width which is been incrementing here, so you can see 70 number is incrementing, it stops till 10. So this effect you are going to get by this thing, right? So just clear. Now say for example, now if I comment this particular section and if you execute this, now you see what happens. Now what happens is that only this 10, it keeps on incrementing, but the background, the green color, the width won't increase. Now you can see here it keeps on incrementing till it becomes 100. Because why it is incrementing, the reason is this one, inner dot HTML. So whatever width you are increasing, you are putting on that, but actual the width, the style dot width, that is not incrementing. So we are going to use this particular line. So if you use both of this effectively, correctly, then you can see that now you are going to properly demonstrate, or we are trying to simulate the task of a, what you can say, progress bar, this particular program. So this is a very simple program. So what we have done is that, so we have taken a style sheet. So initially we started with our body. We have taken two div tag, one ID we gave my progress, another ID my bar. We initialized to starting with 10%. We are starting, we put a button and we are rating on, click on that, we are calling a function called as move. So for this both div, so we are setting some properties, style we are setting for my progress as well as my bar. And when you come to the function move, so element you get the my bar. So what is there in my bar? So initially we have 10% that comes into our element, right? So then we have taken a variable, since we are starting with 10%, so we are taking width as 10, and we wrote a set interval function. Now this set interval is going to call this function frame. So this frame on every, or repeats calling this particular frame on every given this particular time, right? So then in this width greater than or equal to 100, we clear it, else we increment width and we try to display that along with this width, whatever how the width is increasing, we want that background also to be increased, width also to increase, and inside that the 10% the content also has to be written, so we are putting that in inner.html. So right, so now this is our first part of our program, so where we have effectively shown of implementing a dynamic progress bar. And the second part, B part, is you have to display a video file. So you are going to display a video file using HTML tag. Right, now to display that, it's very simple thing. So now what we'll do is that now in this particular tag itself, we'll try to below this button, click button, so we'll use a break tag, and say that now we try to implement a video button, or we can say how we are going to display one video. So we'll say header 1, so we'll just give one particular how we are going to display the video. Now to display the video, so we are going to use a tag called as video tag. Now as soon as you type on this video tag, now it is asking for the source. So what is your source? Now you have to give the file name, right? So now we'll use, if you have already kept that particular file in your folder. Now say that if you don't have any source file, let us say that we just take the tag called as video. Now we will use some function. We'll set some width of this video as 200. We'll set height of this video as 200, and we have another function called as controls. Right, now what is this use of this controls? We'll see. Right now we won't use this particular control now. So we are going to, this is our video tag. Now we will use source, right? So now source src is equal to, let us leave it blank, so we'll say type. So which is the type of our video? It is mp4. Right, now let us save this. So now we have not included any source and everything, so you can see something, you have not included anything, right? So it is just displaying video display. Now here, now if you include controls, so now you can see that as soon as you insert this controls here property, now you can see you got here, so we got a control here, that is playing, how to play the video, mic, speaker, and full screen, and some controls. It is just showing that okay, this is where our video has to come. But right now no video is there because the source is empty. Now already I have installed one particular video, so there is a video here in our folder, right, in the same folder where our program is there. So now we will just give the name of that particular video. So we will give the name of that video. I will save this program and I will go to the, run the program. Now you can see the video, you are able to see. So now this is the control, so where you can see the video, you can play the video, you can adjust the volume, you can go for the full screen, right? All these things you can try to do. So these things comes only when you are putting this control here. So now if I delete this particular control and save the program and see here, now the video is there because you are given the source, you are given the source of that particular video. Video is coming, but how to play it? There is no controls. So to want that default control, there are certain default controls. For that we are supposed to use this property called as controls. So when you use this controls, so now this is the default control things what you can get in your particular video tag which you have embedded into your HTML. So this is the we can say the complete 7th program. This is the part A where you are going to work with the progress bar, right? And this is the part B where you are implementing a small video tag. So this is what our the complete seventh program, which consists of the demonstration of our simulating a dynamic progress bar, plus how you are going to use the video tag in our HTML. So just practice this particular program, right? It's a very simple and very small program. You just practice this particular program. So thank you for watching this particular video.